I have a confession to make. I have a number of confessions to make. I have been adversely affected by the coronavirus lockdowns. All right, that's not the confession. I don't talk about it on this channel at all, and maybe I shouldn't even be talking about it now. But I only feel it's fair to you, the viewers, the subscribers, that I got to be honest with you. I am doing this sacrificially. Just the fact that right now, talking to you on this camera, on this microphone, it's sacrificial for me, but I can't not do it. I'll explain a little bit more, but first, this is going to be, the confession part of this is, I'm going to relay to you. I don't know if confession is the right word. I'm just going to share with you something deeply true and honest that happened to me in this process that will probably better explain why the heck I'm focused on Armenia, why this matters to me. I'm non-Armenian. Like, I'm not Armenian. What's my connection to this? Why should I care? Why should I be sacrificial in my time to do this? And maybe you'll understand. But let me just read a little bit. I'll tell you why it's sacrificial at the end of this. So if you care at all that I'm sacrificing for this, I'll explain at the end. But more importantly, I'm just going to read a verse from Matthew chapter 18. I won't read the whole thing for the context, but it's this one verse, and I'll explain why it's pertinent. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. I mean, what's the context here? This is Jesus talking to his disciples and everybody else. It's like always people, especially at this point in his life, he's just surrounded by people. He's been doing miracles and people are like, hey, that miracle working guy's over here. Let's go check out. Let's check it out and see what he has to say. Hey, your friend's got, a withered hand. Why don't you bring him over? Maybe he'll get healed, right? That's just what's going on. He's been healing people. Who needs healing? Let's go. So Jesus is the Son of God in the flesh, walking around and saying, it's the things that he was saying is actually more important than the things that he was doing. He was imparting truth that would last, that would go into their hearts and be perpetuated and communicated forever. Even Lazarus that he raised from the dead died again. So like the miracles that he did were only just peripheral to what he was really doing. All right, so in this context, at the time that Jesus' disciples came saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus, so the disciples like, who's going to be like sitting at, like they think Jesus is the king, like he's going to overthrow, like Herod is going to be under his feet and Caesar is going to be, well, I don't know if they thought that highly, like Jerusalem was a Roman province, or Israel was a Roman province way at the fringes of the Roman Empire at the time. But the Jewish, his disciples are all Jewish, and they believed that Jesus is the prophesied Messiah, that he would sit on the throne and he would be this reigning king. I mean, that's what he was talking about. He's the fulfillment of all of these prophecies. And so they're like, hey, that means we're hanging out with the guy who's going to be the boss. Like, this Jesus guy, he's the king. It's like, wait, does that mean, you and I get to like rule and reign? Like, we get to sit next to him and just kind of, call the shots. Like, all right. And they're discussing among themselves, hey, I wonder if you're more important than me, and who's going to have this position? It's like, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? This is what they're asking him. You're going to be king and we're going to be your henchman in the kingdom or whatever. And Jesus calls a child to him and puts him in the midst of them and says, truly, I say to you, unless you become like a child, like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself, they're all wanting to be great, thinking they're going to be great. And he's saying, no, the other way around. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. All right. So the context is children. He's talking, there's kids around him. And here's another, this is important, leading right into this verse that I want to focus on. And if your eye, oh wait, no, it's not this part. Where is it? Oh, yeah, right here. So whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck to be drowned in the depths of the sea. So, kind of important. It's something really important about children. And this verse right here says, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. What the heck is he talking about? Angels, like really angels. If you are watching this and you don't believe, and you just think, if you're a materialist, right? If you believe methodological naturalism, that gradualism, that the complexity of life is just this random process, and that there are naturalistic explanations for everything, there are plenty of things that cannot be explained by methodological naturalism or scientism and physicalism. There is an unseen realm that we are in, right? It's not out there somewhere. Heaven's not like up in the sky. No, heaven is around us at all times. God is around us at all times. This may be a bit of a diversion, but I do talk spiritual things. And that's the point of this channel, that there's a warfare being waged. And so there are angels. You have angels around you, protecting you, watching over you. And in particular, the little children, the most vulnerable in our cultures. So this passage of scripture, the reason I just bring this out is it focuses that God is really concerned about the little ones, that they are very important to him because of their innocence and their potential, right? If you cause a little one to sin, then that little one grows up to be maybe a Hitler, right? So if you start grooming them for evil when they're young, they can do great evil, right? So I'll tell you a story, and then we'll wrap up with my my woe is me sacrificial explanation. 3 years ago, or a little under 3 years ago, I had just started on this project over 3 years ago, and I was about to meet with a potential investor. And I won't give you the details of how we got connected, but I'm like, oh, I'm about to sit down for an hour with this guy who believes in Soghomon Tehlirian, believes in the importance of the Soghomon Tehlirian story. And I'm like, so I took an hour before the meeting and went to this park nearby, and I just walked and I prayed. And I was just like, this is important. I just need to get my mind in the right place. And I was asking God, what do I want from this meeting? Why have I set up this meeting? What's to come of it? What do I want? What am I going to say? And in that time of solitude and quieting my heart and putting myself before the Lord, and I had also been reading about the genocide. I mean, I had just launched into this, so for the previous couple of months, I'd just been immersed in the atrocities and the actual deeds, the horrific actions, and realizing that Soghomon Tehlirian was probably the most important thing he did in his life. Everybody thinks it's the assassination of Talat Pasha, the architect of the genocide. But I would argue the most important thing he did in his life was to gather orphans. The world looks at the assassination of great leaders and that gets their attention. But God looks at the rescue of the children of Armenia, the future. And I've said this in previous segments that every single Armenian I talk to about their personal history traces back to an orphan. My great-grandmother was the last one of their entire village. It was a small child that fled, protected by the angels of God. Turkey's going to face judgment. Anyway, that's not what but that reality that the angels of all of those orphans just had this sense that they were all looking at me. That if I'm able to tell the Soghomon Tehlirian story properly, that the world will see the truth, and that will change the world. And I'm just telling you the impression I had that this burden of all these massacred families from these children was like on me. The righteous dead, that the massacred Christian Armenians were all watching me, like right before this meeting with this potential investor. And then at the end of that prayer time, what I want, like, what do I, if this is, an important meeting, I need to treat it with the respect and dignity. I don't need to go in there with the wrong mindset. And what was the result? I just want to make a friend. I just want to become friends with this guy. And I sat down and listened to him talk, and every word out of his mouth was as if it was like he was reading my mind. Everything he was saying were the thought processes that I'd been going through, everything. And we left it at that. It was like, nice to meet you, and let's, look forward to possibly working together in the future. And lo and behold, he's now my partner. He has invested in the intellectual property, the translation of the Soghomon Tehlirian memoir, and the eventual production of a project that will tell the world the truth. Soghomon cared about the orphans. He did the right thing. He did the only thing that needed to be done. And I feel like I am sitting on Soghomon's shoulders to share that this investor friend now and I, who are on this mission to tell the truth. All right, so what am I doing? I fully expect that a small fraction of my subscribers and viewers are still watching this, okay? And so I waited till the end to say this to you because I know you'll be the people who care to watch my videos all the way to the end are the diehards, right? There's a few of you. I could even name some of you. Obviously, Mom, you're one of them. And then some of you other loyal commenters on the YouTube channel. I just want to share my appreciation. I know some of you, several of you are, we're not religious. I'm not religious. And, I've called you out and said, you're doing God's work, and you are, whether you know it or not, right? God uses everybody, whoever, as long as they're doing the right thing. So I am committed to doing this YouTube channel for as long as I am alive. And I believe good things are in the future. And I talk about this investor partner friend of mine, and there's a limited dollar amount that he was going to invest, and he's invested it. And that investment has gotten the research done. It's gotten the translation done. And, it's not like he's pouring money in. He's like, this is what I'm investing in, this intellectual property, and bringing it to a certain point. And we're in that process. It's not an investor that's paying my bills. I've been hit by this pandemic. My line of work, Hollywood, shut down in mid-March when international travel shut down. Everything shut down. The double whammy for me is that I had been not working in Hollywood for about 2.5 years prior to the pandemic, not working and getting paid. I had my own money that I was investing in the research and paying my bills while I could research it. And so I was out of the loop. Like, you have to network in Hollywood to stay employed. People will hire you if you're on their mind, which means you're working around them and they move from one show to another show. So the double whammy is I was kind of out of the loop for a couple of years. Then the pandemic hits, and then new projects all get shut down. And so my opportunities to find work to get paid at the level that I need to get paid all evaporated in March. And so I've been extremely adversely affected. And it's come, I won't go into the details, but essentially just in the past couple of weeks, I've had to take on two total low paying jobs. I mean, both of these jobs, and they're short term, but they're low paying jobs. And together they barely cover a fraction of what I would normally make to pay my bills, but they're also taking a ton of my time. And so I have to work those jobs and I have to care for my family, but I'm committed to this. And so I don't know. I mean, I will keep doing this. Maybe I'll do one a day. I've been doing two a day, but I'm thank you for watching. And at some point, maybe there'll be a way that somebody out there in the audience can contribute. Somehow I could set up a donation account or something where maybe you can offset my expenses, because I have to do this. I'm not going to stop doing this, even though there's pressure for me to stop doing this. I can't. I see the numbers ticking up. I see that's confirmation I'm doing the right thing. And the way you guys are commenting and rooting for me, I really believe this is only the beginning, because the publication of the memoir, when that happens, it's coming in the next couple of months. Like, my name will be associated with the publication of the Sogolon Talerian memoir. And so there'll be a little more, I guess, notoriety, and I'll be talking to people like, oh, I have a YouTube channel where I've been talking about this. So the numbers will continue to grow. So don't worry, I'm never going to stop this, but I'm making a real sacrifice right now. So subscribe and share. I fully believe that only the diehards have watched all the way to this end. And so that's why I saved those comments to the end. It's not something I'm going to start with saying, please help me, send me money. That's not what I'm about. But I for some reason, you're watching right now, even as I babble on. So I will end it right there. Thank you. I just want to thank you.